Shalom, how are you? Well, I've done a video already about this subject before, but I want to be more specific. This subject outrages me a little bit. Just the subject of people thinking that sunset starts the day. I think it's quite absurd. And I think our Creator hasn't said everything in His words, because some things should be taken for granted. For example, our Creator doesn't say a word about you shouldn't touch children or do dishonest things with them related to sexual things. He doesn't say anything, but that's quite obvious. We should have the common sense just to understand that, take it for granted. There are books in Judaism that permit that completely. And they even say it's good. It's a religion that's quite idolized by people, but it's just another religion which means mental control. They say, for example, that the year starts in the 7th month, which is very clear in the word in Exodus 12. Elohim said to Moses at the beginning of the year is the month of Aviv, Nisan. And they say, yeah, the religious year is okay, but then the civil year, they invert it. That's wrong, and that's inverted. That's what religions do. The beginning of the day is the sunset, the dusk, they say. That's disobedience, and religions invert everything. And they say in Judaism as well, at the beginning of the day is the dusk. But our Creator, without being too specific, He shows us it's not like that. The dawn is the beginning of the day when the birds are singing, and then nature takes life, and then that's the start of the day. Whatever else are fables, metaphors, invents, and things look beautiful, and they explain it to you, and it like warms your heart, but that's not the truth of our Elohim. It's not in agreement with the scripture. And then I want to be very, very brief. I just want to take 4 fragments of the scripture. Everybody considers the beginning of a day at dawn, except for religious people that should say something. Bereshit 1:5. We are in the beginning of the scripture, and this is a verse people manipulate most to show something that's backwards, that's just the other way around. Elohim called the light day and darkness night. So there was a night and morning one day, and then they take this and they say the day begins in the afternoon. How come? There was afternoon and morning one day. And here it says one night and one morning, one day. So one night and then one morning. And then people say, that means that the day starts at dusk. And you're insulting my intelligence. I ask you, when does the day start? The day starts in the afternoon, then it should say there was a morning and an afternoon. But it says there was night and there was morning. Here, I don't have it in English, but Boker is number 1242 in the Strong Dictionary, and it means dawn. It means the start of the day. At the moment of the dawn, starts a new day. It's as simple as that. But look at that. Look at this. Elohim called the day the light day and the darkness night. I'll say it again. He called the light day and then the darkness night. Look at the order. Day and then night. You're seeing that already. But your religious mind inverts it and says, no, first the night and then the day. So you are better than the Creator, and you decide when the day begins. But my day starts when the light comes, and when birds start to sing, and the sun warms and fertilizes the earth. That's the only reality. Shemot 16, Exodus 16. Here's when the manna was falling from the sky, and then our Abba says to the people of Israel to collect the manna 6 days. And then the 7th day they couldn't do it. They had to do it for the other 6 days. Moshe said to them, don't collect it until the morning. Until the morning. So we're seeing here, as our Abba puts the start as a limit, the dawn as a limit. But they didn't do it. And then there were worms in the manna because they didn't obey. And they were collecting it morning after morning. So our Abba is putting the morning as a limit. On the 6th day, called Friday in the Greek Roman day, Shishi in Hebrew, they collected double of the manna. And all the elders brought it to Moshe, and he said, this is what Yahuwah said. Tomorrow it's Kadosh, it's a day of rest. Roast it, because tomorrow it's a Kadosh day. It doesn't say after dusk or after the sunset. It says tomorrow. Whatever you want to boil or roast, you do it. For tomorrow. It says tomorrow, just like today, like nowadays. You say tomorrow, referring to the next day. The problem of messianics and in less level evangelicals, whatever the Judaism says, it's absolutely true. And Judaism is just another religion which means mental control. It's not more clever than Christianity or Islam. It's just a way of just bend the scriptures to follow an agenda. So don't believe everything a rabbi says. And our Abba says, don't call anybody a rabbi, because he's our only rabbi. Our Abba Kadosh says that clearly. The lies of religion makes you see things the opposite way. Everybody know. I mean, whoever, even your neighbor who doesn't care about Elohim or about the scriptures, knows that the day begins at dawn. Religion bends everything. Now we're going to Nehemiah 13. And then people use it on the internet just to follow this agenda of sunset starts the day. We're going to read it. I fought against the sons of Jehudah. And I said, what is this terrible thing you're doing, profaning the Shabbat, the day of rest, just the day of rest. We're going to talk about that later. Didn't your fathers do this and bring more disaster against us? So you're still bringing even more rage against us because you're profaning the day of rest. I commanded for the doors not to be open until after the Shabbat. Now people say, it was getting dark before the Shabbat because in Shabbat it's when it gets dark. They assume that, but let's keep on reading. I put some of my servants at the doors for no load to enter during the Shabbat. Now I say, the doors of Jerusalem, when it was getting dark, I commanded them to be closed. Imagine I am Nehemiah, and I say, nobody will enter here. I don't want anybody to enter. What do? Wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, and I am just too tired, and I close the doors? Or I just go before the sunset, and I close them? Because who's going to enter at night? The merchants and the people of commerce used to enter during the day. And then they spent the night outside, but they were thinking, I will enter during the Shabbat. And I warned them, why are you spending the night outside the city? And from then on, they stopped coming during the Shabbat. Do you see that or not? For example, you are in Leeds, and you go to London and go back to Leeds in the Shabbat. The problem wasn't spending the night outside. Because if you spend the night outside and you remain there, that's okay. The problem is they spent the night outside and they entered the doors during the Shabbat. And the scripture says there shouldn't be any load entering the city. If you need to carry a bottle of water at home from a room to the other room, if I need to take a bottle and take it somewhere else, it doesn't matter. The problem is when I exit my home, exit the door of my home, because the commandment is not taking the load outside your home. So it's so important to read by yourself what is written in the scripture. But if you're waiting for the rabbi and the pastor to tell you what you have to do, you are wrong. You need to read it yourself, because our Creator is very specific. And He supposes that you are so intelligent that you're going to get it. So it didn't write everything, because some things are just of common sense. There are some extremes that you don't need to know, because you know already, it's just common sense. So we're going to go now to Luke 16. This is a favorite of people to bend the meaning of what the scripture says. And I get enraged with this. When the Shabbat had finished, no, it's not Luke, it's just Mark. Mark 16. When Shabbat had finished, Miriam of Magdala and Miriam, the mother of Jacob and Shlomit, bought spices to go and anoint Yahusha. Very early, at the beginning, after dawn, they went to the tomb. Well, let's see. The Shabbat had finished already. They went to buy spices. And very early, the first moment of the first day of the week, very early, the first day of the week. So when did they buy the spices? When people say, yeah, the Shabbat stops at the sunset because it starts at the sunset. It's not like that. The Shabbat stops at sunset, but it starts at dawn. And they bought the spices to anoint Yahusha, because you can buy at night after Shabbat. It's of common sense as well, because in Exodus 13, Elohim says you can't light fire in Shabbat. But then how could you live at night? You needed the fire to defend yourself, to cook, and to be able to see, So it's a day of rest. From the moment of dawn to the moment of the sunset. It's very clear that the dawn is the beginning of a day, because our Creator has established it like that. So that's when people wake up, go to work, and do everything. And then religion twists it, but it's just very, very few people who think that. That's something quite absurd. It's very absurd that our Creator puts light, but then when that light finishes, the day starts. That's quite stupid. So the two Miriams bought spices to anoint Yahusha at night, because you can buy at night, because the day of rest has finished. The day of rest is the days of light of the Saturday. This is the video I wanted to do. I hope You tell me what you think about it. I am open to discuss it, and I want to see your comments. I can make any mistake, although I don't think I'm making it now, but I might anyway. And please walk with me in this channel, See La Torah. It's been quite in standby, but now I want to make a lot of videos because there's a lot of remnant who needs to listen to the Torah. I am Yahaver, and I love you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom.